This story begins in a place where cars used to be built. It is an old factory complex in Brazil. For many years, this factory was owned by a famous American car company called Ford. Inside, machines worked and people built many Ford cars. The factory showed that Ford had a strong presence in a country far from the United States. However, this situation changed. A few years ago, Ford made a decision to stop making cars in Brazil. The factory closed its doors. Many people lost their jobs. This moment felt like the end of an era for American car making in that country. It showed that even big, old companies sometimes leave important markets. But the story did not end there. Today, the same factory area is full of activity again. But the name on the building is different. It is now a large factory for BYD, a company from China. BYD is not making traditional cars. They are building electric vehicles, which are becoming very popular around the world. This shows the rise of new types of cars and new companies leading the way. This transformation from Ford to BYD in one place is more than just a business story. It is a symbol of a much larger change happening across the globe. For a long time, the economic power of the world was mostly centered in Western countries, like the United States, and countries in Europe. These nations were the leaders in industry, finance, and global trade. Now we are seeing a shift. A group of countries, including Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, known together as Brics Plus, are becoming much more powerful in the world economy. Other countries have joined this group recently, making it even bigger. The change from an American company leaving Brazil and a Chinese company taking its place is a clear example of this shift. It shows that power and business are moving. It highlights how the BRICS Plus countries are growing in importance and challenging the old leaders of the world economy. This book will explore this important global change. We will look closely at what BRICS is, how it started, and why it is growing. We will see how countries in this group are working together to build a new kind of global system. The story of the factory in Brazil is just the first step in understanding this new world. 2. What is BRICS? Let's learn about what BRICS is and how it started. The name BRIC was first used in the year 2001 by an economist from a big bank. He saw that 4 countries, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, were growing very fast. These 4 countries met for the first time as a group in Russia in 2009. This meeting made the idea of BRIC stronger. They wanted to work together on money and world topics. Later, in 2010, another country joined the group, South Africa. This was an important step because it added a country from Africa. After South Africa joined, the name changed from BRIC to Brics, with an S for South Africa. More recently, the group became even bigger. In 2024, 4 more countries became members: Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. Then, in 2025, Indonesia also joined. So now there are 10 countries in the group, sometimes called Brics Plus. Why is this group important? It's part of a change in the world. For a long time, 1 or 2 countries had most of the power in the world. People call this a unipolar world, with 1 main leader, or bipolar, with 2 main leaders. But now, many countries are becoming strong. This idea of many strong countries sharing power is called a multipolar world. Brics Plus wants a world where power is shared more. They challenge the old system where the United States and its friends had the most influence. By working together, Brics Plus countries want to have a bigger voice in the world's economy and politics. They want to build their own way of doing things, separate from the old systems led by the West. 3. Big countries, big numbers. To understand the power of Brics Plus, it helps to look at the numbers. These countries are big, and their numbers show their growing strength in the world economy. First, let's look at their economies, measured by GDP. In 2024, the original Brics countries had about 35% of the world's GDP. This is more than the G7 countries, which had about 30%. This shows a big change from the past, when G7 was much larger. When new countries joined, the Brics Plus group became even bigger. Now, Brics Plus countries have about 45% of all the people in the world. Having so many people is important. It means a large workforce and many consumers who buy things. Many of these countries also have young populations, which is good for future growth. The economies of Brics Plus are growing faster than the world average. For example, in 2024, Brics economies grew by 4%, while the world economy grew by 3.3%. Trade between the Brics countries is also increasing fast. From 2021 to 2024, trade between the first 5 members grew by 40%. This trade is now more than $700 billion. This shows that these countries are trading more with each other. Another important number is about money used for trade. For a long time, the US dollar was used for most world trade. But Brics Plus countries are using their own money more. This is called moving away from the dollar. For example, the use of the Chinese yuan for trade has grown a lot. In the last 10 years, using the yuan for trade payments went from almost 0% to 30%. This makes the Brics Plus countries less dependent on the US dollar and the financial systems connected to it. These big numbers for economy size, population, trade, and currency use explain why Brics Plus is becoming a very important group in the world. 4. A story about cars. The story of cars in Brazil is a good example of big changes happening in the world economy. Ford Motor Company had a long history in Brazil, almost a century. It was a big and important part of the car industry there. Ford built many cars for the Brazilian market and for other countries too. But in 2021, after a long time, Ford made a big decision. It closed all its factories in Brazil. The company said it was difficult and expensive to build cars there because of high costs and complex rules. They also faced strong competition from many other car makers already in the market and new ones arriving. When Ford left, the large factories became empty buildings, and many local people who worked there lost their jobs. It was the end of a long period for American car manufacturing in Brazil. Soon after Ford closed its doors, a different company came to Brazil. This company is called BYD, and it is from China. The name BYD means Build Your Dreams. Unlike Ford, BYD specializes in making electric cars and hybrid cars, which use electricity and gasoline. BYD bought the old factory that Ford used to own. They started to build their own types of cars there. This brought new technology and a focus on newer, cleaner vehicles to Brazil. BYD has become very successful in Brazil very quickly. They are selling many cars, and their business is growing fast. In 2024, their sales in Brazil grew by 85% compared to the year before. They sold over 170,000 cars in Brazil, including fully electric cars and hybrids. This rapid growth helped BYD quickly become one of the biggest car companies in the country, ranking as the 8th largest overall by market share. They did not just fill a gap. They brought a new energy to the market. BYD also invested money to make the factory modern. They updated the old facilities for making electric cars. This investment created new jobs and helped the local economy. The story of Ford leaving Brazil and BYD coming in shows something important about the world today. It shows how industrial power is shifting. For many years, countries in the West, like the United States and countries in Europe, were the main leaders in making and selling things globally. But now, countries like China, which is a big part of the Brics Plus group, are becoming very strong in manufacturing. Companies from these countries are growing fast and taking important positions in global markets, like the car market in Brazil. This change in the car industry in Brazil connects directly to the larger rise of the Brics Plus countries. These nations are working together to build their economies and create new international economic systems. The BYD factory in Brazil is a physical sign of this new reality. It clearly shows a shift in manufacturing power and global influence from Western nations to countries in the Brics Plus group and other emerging economies. This change is a key part of the global move towards a world with many centers of power. 5. U.S. rules and BRICS. The United States has historically played a big role in setting rules for global trade and finance. However, in recent years, some U.S. policies started changing things. For example, the U.S. government put extra taxes, known as tariffs, on many products coming from other countries. This policy, which focused on putting America first, changed how countries traded with the U.S. and with each other. Another important event was when many Western countries put strong economic limits, or sanctions, on Russia in 2022. These sanctions aimed to isolate Russia from the world economy. But this action had a different effect on the Brics countries. Because of the sanctions, Russia increased its trade and economic links with other Brics members, especially China and India. This forced and encouraged Brics countries to work more closely together. They looked for ways to continue trading and doing business even under these new global conditions. This included exploring how to use their own money for trade more often instead of the US dollar to avoid the effects of the sanctions. Around the same time, the United States and China had significant disagreements about trade, leading to what was called a trade war. Both countries put tariffs on many goods. This trade tension created uncertainty for businesses and countries around the world. For the Brics countries, this situation further highlighted the challenges of relying too much on the existing global trade system, which was strongly influenced by the U.S. These events combined, the U.S. tariffs, the sanctions on Russia, and the U.S.-China trade issues had a strong effect on the Brics group. They pushed Brics members to actively build their own economic and financial systems. They wanted systems that were less dependent on the United States. For instance, they worked harder on increasing trade using their own national currencies. They also gave more importance to their own financial body, the new Development Bank. This bank provides money for development projects in Brics countries and others in the Global South, offering an alternative to Western-led banks. Furthermore, the sanctions on Russia also sped up the interest in and use of alternative ways to send money between countries for trade, like China's SIP system. These steps showed that Brics was building its own path. Some countries even joined Brics looking for a place safer from U.S. economic pressure. These developments helped make the Brics group more united and stronger in the world economy. This showed how world events can change the power of groups like Brics. 6. China's leading role. China is a very important country in the Brics Plus group. It plays a leading role because its economy is much bigger than the other members. Think about the total money all the Brics Plus countries make together in a year. China makes more than 70% of that total. This big economy gives China a lot of power and helps guide the group. China has many large projects that help connect Brics Plus countries. One example is the Belt and Road Initiative. This is a plan to build roads, ports, and other important things in different countries. These projects help trade and make the countries feel more connected to China and each other. This makes the whole BRICS Plus group stronger. China also shares its technology. Companies from China make electric cars, modern phones, and systems for the Internet. These Chinese companies are becoming very big in other BRICS Plus countries. This helps these countries get new technology. It also means they do not need to rely as much on technology from countries outside the group, like those in the West. The way money moves between countries is also important. China's banks and money systems are used more and more by other BRICS Plus members. For example, countries are starting to use China's money, the yuan, more often when they buy and sell things with each other. This is a change from using the US dollar for most international trade. China's main bank also has agreements with the banks in other BRICS Plus countries. These agreements help make trading with local money easier. This financial connection is another way China helps tie the BRICS Plus group together. By using their own money systems, the BRICS Plus countries become less dependent on the old world financial system. China's large economy, its big building projects, its technology companies, and its financial power all help make the BRICS Plus group strong. China's role is central to the group's plans and its growing power in the world. 7. The world is changing. Groups like BRICS Plus may seem strong together, but they also face difficulties inside. Even though they show unity at meetings, there are disagreements between the member countries. One clear example is the border issue between India and China. This problem causes tension between these two important BRICS Plus members. Also, countries in the group have different ideas and goals. Their political systems and interests can be very different. Russia's relationships with other BRICS Plus countries also have different levels of closeness, especially because of its conflict in Ukraine. These differences mean it is hard for the group to agree on everything and always act together. Each country still makes its own decisions first. Another challenge comes from the big differences in the economies of the BRICS Plus countries. China has a much larger economy than Brazil, India, South Africa, or the other members. This means what is good for China's economy might not be good for others. These big differences in wealth and development make it difficult to create common plans or policies that benefit all members equally. The BRICS Plus group is not a traditional trading bloc like some others in the world. It does not have many shared rules for trade or money that all members must follow. Each country keeps control of its own trade policies. This lack of common rules and institutions can make working together on economic issues complicated. It limits how deeply the countries can integrate their economies compared to groups with more formal agreements. However, BRICS Plus has successfully built its own institution, the New Development Bank, known as the NDB. This bank was started by the original 5 BRICS countries to support developing nations, especially those in the Global South. The NDB provides money, called financing, for important projects like building new roads, improving energy systems, or creating sustainable development projects. These are big infrastructure plans that help countries grow. A key feature of the NDB is its structure. The first 5 founding members, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, all have an equal say in decisions, no matter how big their economy is. This is different from some older banks where power depends on how much money a country gives. The NDB also offers loans with fewer conditions compared to banks like the World Bank. It focuses on the project itself, not requiring strict changes to a country's government or economy. The NDB started with $50 billion and is growing. While still smaller than very old banks, it is an important alternative source of money for development, and a sign of Brics Plus building its own financial systems. 8. What will happen next? We have looked at how the world economy is changing. We saw how groups like Brics Plus are becoming more important. This change shows a move from a world with one main power to a world with many power centers. It is a big shift for global economics and politics. We learned that some actions by the United States, like putting tariffs on goods from other countries, had an unexpected effect. These actions pushed Brics Plus nations closer together. They started trading more with each other. This helped them get stronger as a group and think about building their own systems for trade and money. What can we expect for the future? Experts believe the Brics Plus group will likely continue to grow in power. By the year 2030, their total economies could be larger than the economies of the G7 countries. This is because they have a very large part of the world's population, more than half, which provides many workers and customers. Also, trade between Brics Plus countries is growing quickly. They are also working on new ways to do business internationally. They are building important institutions like the New Development Bank. This bank helps member countries pay for big projects. They are also trying to use less of the US dollar for trading with each other, using their own money instead. These steps help them become more independent. This big change in the world is happening now. It is not finished, and it will continue. The rise of Brics Plus and the idea of a world with many power centers is a process that is changing the rules of the global game. This transformation makes us ask, with more countries and groups like Brics Plus holding power, will this lead to more countries working together peacefully? Or could it create more problems and disagreements between nations? Think about this big change.
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.